Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of our intro. Today, we're going to be going into the deep dive of who Ash and I are and a little bit of our backstories so that you have a better understanding of where we come from and why we feel so passionately about doing what we are doing.
Indeed, yeah, I'm quite excited about this. I think a lot of the time, and what's lovely about these questions, and just in all transparency, we have shared our questions with each other so we can deep dive into it. We can really sit with the questions and find out how it affects us emotionally, what we are feeling with these questions. And so, what you're getting here is thought out honesty from both of us. So, we have made a few notes every now and again, I think is safe to say, transparency. And yes, so we really do want to share who we are here, I think is a good way to put it.
And I think something that's so important for both Ash and I is authenticity. And having a space that allows us, as well as anybody that wants to be part of this tribe, to be vulnerable and to really have honest and open conversations about life and love and motherhood, and those that are single moms being a single mom, in today's world. So I think this is a very good start to our podcast to come. So Ash, who's going to go first with the questions?
Oh, you're welcome to hit it off there, ma'am. I do
Okay, so
also
I'll
think
ask
that,
Ash.
yeah, sorry, I
Okay.
also just want to say that I want this to be, and you and I have chatted about this because we did have some issues this week with power outs and such. And we need this to be as safe a place for and relaxed a space for each of us as well as for everybody else who's out there listening. We want this to be a happy place. We want this to be where you can come and sit down and think, right now, I can actually rest into myself and just take a breather, and realize
Yes.
that there are women feeling and yeah, feeling the same way that I am. So
Mm.
yes, right.
Place of
Yes,
peace.
yes, yes, yes.
Peace, learning, and understanding, I think, are important feelings that we need in this space.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the biggest one of all is cheering each other on. I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yes,
Okay. And also,
absolutely.
sorry,
So
one
I'm
more thing.
going
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everybody who did listen to our first episode, for the comments that we received, for the feedback that we got. We were just chatting about it now. We're actually quite shocked at how you have
yeah,
received us, and we are extremely grateful. So thank you. Thank you. And
very
please,
grateful. Yeah, it's been
please
amazing.
tag other women that you know would get benefit out of this, because I think we just want to create a community at the end of the day. Okay,
Yeah, in
I'll
a
be
space
quiet
where
now, I
we're all sharing our bests.
promise.
Okay, so we're going to just dive straight into Ash's questions. So as Ash did mention, we each carefully thought out questions for each other in a very deep way, actually, to just be able to share with our viewers or listeners who we are at our core. So, the first question for Ash is, for anyone who doesn't know you, who is Ashley in just a few words?
I am somebody who loves to learn. I love to assist. And I think deep down at my core, I'm actually a problem solver. I
Mm.
generally, if somebody comes to me with something and my brain just explodes with ideas for them, it's like, well, have you tried this? Have you looked at it this way? When it comes to my own life, not so much. I think it's because I'm too emotionally invested. But I love to problem solve. I love to create. I love to explore different avenues and opportunities. And I think that's why, Ashley Wegener Studios, my photography business, is is such a lovely space for me because I
Mm.
get to listen to women. I get to problem solve whatever they come to me with, whether it be, oh, I don't like the way I look, or this, or whatever it is, those issues that generally do come into the studio because it is a very vulnerable space.
Mm.
So I do get to problem solve and I get to create art with whoever or whatever is in front of my camera. So yes, I think, and then I am a mother of two glorious children that I love. So that's me in a nutshell, I would say.
Yes, I love that. Okay, number two, how did you get into photography and entrepreneurship?
I am a control freak. So having somebody else tell me what to do or having my day decided upon for me didn't really fit with who I am. I like to be in control. I like to be able to run things. And I think one of the biggest one of the biggest aha moments for me was, because starting your own business and stepping out of the corporate world is very scary. You don't know what it's
Yes.
going to be like. You don't know
Yeah.
how it's going to happen. And I had been divorced, I would say, for about, what was it? Probably about a year or so. And thankfully, my parents were close, so they were able to fetch the boys from school and such for me. But once I started my business and I was working from home, my eldest child was sick. And he was
Mm,
there on the couch, lying there watching TV while I was working. And that suddenly, and I know it's a little bit sad, but that struck me as like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. That I can, when
mm,
my child is sick, I can look after them. When I need to
mm,
be at home and rearrange my schedule around what my absolute priorities are, which is my family, making sure my boys have been raised properly,
mm,
that then validated my decision to actually step out and be there as an entrepreneur. Um, yeah, so that's basically it. So the decision was to be here for my children, and I
mm.
think it has worked beautifully because my boys are
Amazing.
they really are, and I'm not saying that as a mother because the teachers have told me to.
Yeah,
Yes, so
there's
that is
nothing wrong with admitting that your kids are amazing. I mean, I think we all try our best to make sure that we're bringing our children up the best possible way that we can.
exactly, and
So
being an
it's
example
okay
to
to
them.
say my children are amazing because you've invested so much in
Yes,
them.
yes, yes, yeah. And I do know for a fact that you also, I mean, I remember the one chap said to me, "Oh, your life revolves too much around your children." I said, "Well, thank you so much for that compliment. At least I know I'm doing it right." And I think you're
Yes,
the same.
exactly.
You do.
Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah, I've just in the things that I've known and seen, your life revolves
Mm,
around your children as well. And as a mother, I can't
mm.
see it being any other way. It shouldn't be any other
No,
way when they're
no,
young. Yeah.
no, absolutely. So, what lights you up the most about being a creative?
Transformation. 100% transformation.
And you know what,
Just
for me as well, to interfere there or interrupt you is I love watching you in your space because the confidence that you give people when you're working with them is like next level. You just make people feel so amazing. Like it's incredible to watch.
thank you. Yeah, no, I do refer to that as my superpower. So people say, they often come into the studio and they come in and they are, like I say, they bring their luggage in, which I'm quite fine with. And I
Mm,
mean luggage
mm.
typically as in the suitcase full of outfits that they want to because they don't know what to wear. They're stressing and now,
Yes,
they've got a
yes.
pimple on their face and oh no, my child bashed. And it's like, it's okay. I've got you.
Yeah,
It's quite all
yeah.
right. So they come in with that baggage and they come in with all their emotional insecurities and baggage,
Mm,
along with them. And so when we start, you can actually see they're very stiff. And by the end of it, I have them laughing, I have them walking taller, and it definitely is that transformation. So I always try and tell people when you come to a photo shoot with me, it's an experience. It's not a case of me just picking up a camera and taking a photo because I guide, I direct, I take you through the entire process of where to
mm,
smile, where to look, how to put your hands, and it is transformative and it is liberating. So definitely transformation, 100% about the creative
mm,
process. And then it's also what I do love is watching something grow and develop and evolve into what
yeah.
it should be. And I think most artists, they'll start off with an idea and very seldom does that idea end up being what you originally envisioned because it is a
Mm,
journey. creativity is a journey. So you
Yes.
go through it and things blossom and develop, and you might have a thorn here, but if there's a thorn here, that's okay, we can go this way. So it is
Mm.
fluid, and that's one of the main things that I love about it.
I love that, Ash. And what has being a single mom to two teenage boys taught you most about yourself?
That I have to remind myself that I am the parent.
Mm.
So often, and I think, and I've said this since they were little, and I don't know if it's just my boys or if it is, no, I believe it's parenting in general. We
Mm.
often minimize the value that a child has. And
Yes.
I mean that the simplicity that they view life, the
Mm,
simplicity that
mm,
they view situations with. If we actually
mm,
just took a step back and right from the beginning, right, I mean, when my ex-husband and I were going through the divorce and such, every time, I mean, Dylan was still in nappies, he was a baby, but I would always call the boys
mm,
aside and say, listen, your parents love you. I knew that they
mm,
understood. I said, your parents love you. This is not you guys. This has got nothing to do with
mm,
you. It's I can't
mm.
stand him and he won't stand me. So it's not about
Yes.
you boys. We love you both so much.
Mm,
And then
mm,
once I'd found the cottage that I was staying in, and there were certain decisions to be made about where to
mm,
live, how we were going to live, how we were going to make things happen. Do I go out and start my own business? I said, right, guys, family meeting, we'll all go sit cross-legged on my bed. And I would chat to them about it and say, what do you think?
yeah.
And so many times, okay, granted, I didn't go deep dive. I kept it very
Yes.
age appropriate, can I say? I
Yes.
think that's the easiest way to
Yes.
say it. But they were always part of the decision. They
Yes.
were always part of the process. And I mean, even now I say to them, they become my bouncing board. And so
Yes.
often, like I say, because of their view on life and their innocence and their just the way that they see things, the answers, etc., that you get are unbelievable. And often my children have come to me and they've said, now mom, calm down, let's look at it this way, or don't stress, this is the situation. They just, and that's why I say so often I have to continuously remind myself that I am the parent, because
Yes.
they are so wise in their innocence.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, so if that's one lesson I can impart, is that take time to listen to your children,
Mm.
because you
And
will
involve them.
in absolutely, absolutely. I mean, when we were coming up with business ideas or whatever, sitting on the trampoline with paper and they would be drawing their pictures and we'd all be planning. I mean, my son came up with, oh no, we're going to do Taylor-tastic or Taylor and Co, which was going to be a company of pet products, and
Mm.
the slogan was wiggle fluently. I mean, it's freaking genius. It is so cute.
Yes.
And that was just because we were all doing the same activity and just letting
Yes.
it all flow. So yes, please involve your children and listen to them.
I love that so much. How did divorce change you personally or creatively?
It made me stronger, and it made me start to trust who I am
Mm.
and to trust in my decisions. Not
Yeah.
always, but it's also taught me that, you know, the importance of friendship. Um,
Mm.
being able to go to other women and have conversations with them, and again, just listening to women and suddenly realizing, okay, so it's not just me. It's not that my business is failing, or it's the economy at the moment. Okay,
Yes.
so listening to women, understanding women. Let me see what I've also written here in my notes. Um, yes, so it's just taught me the strength in being able to lean on other people, but the strength of leaning on myself. Yeah, I
Mm.
think that's
That
definitely,
self-trust.
yes, which is
Self-trust
not
is so
easy,
important. No, it's
especially
not.
especially after having been in such a growing up wasn't easy. And look, I mean,
Mm.
I had all the luxury or whatever that I needed, but
Yes.
there were just emotional things that I needed that my parents didn't know how to give me. So I don't blame them,
Yes.
but
Yes.
I just wasn't parented the way I needed. And
Yes.
that's one of the things that I have also learned is that I need to parent my boys the way that they need. So they can't be
Yes.
disciplined the same. They can't be
Mm.
rewarded in the same way. They are
Mm.
very different children. So
Individuals.
the best thing is to kind of create the boundaries and then let them develop within their own set, the way that they need to develop. So yes,
Yes.
divorce has definitely, and I think it's probably bonded me and the boys immensely, because
Yeah.
we've had to rely on each other. So
Yes.
there's definitely been a lot of benefit that has come out of it. I'm not saying that divorce is for everybody,
Mm.
but you make the best of a bad situation, and I think that
Absolutely.
we have between the three of us.
Yeah. No, you guys are amazing. I
Mm,
love your dynamic and I love how strong your bond is with the
mm,
kids.
mm.
And so I think you've really, you're such a good example of a single mom and how to balance it, especially with two boys. So
Thank
well
you.
done.
Thank you.
You really are amazing. And then what is one belief about yourself that shifted after becoming a single mom?
Oh, okay. This is going to sound strange, but it's if not me, then who?
Mm,
Okay. And I've used that kind of to guide my life. And it's, a lot of people think, well, I can't because, or no, I could never do that because I'm not this, or I'm not that, or I'm not the next thing. And really, if not you, then who? And it's like, who am I not to step into who I,
mm,
step out and
mm.
say something or do something or be something? Because if I can inspire one other person or become a tiny little glimmer of hope to somebody, then who am I not to say it? Who are we not to start this podcast? I mean, I
Mm.
can guarantee you that there's naysayers out there going, well, who the heck do they think they are? And it's like, well, again, who am I not to? Who am I not to say something or do something just because, who am I not to? And I think that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest things is believe, actually just taking a deep breath, closing my eyes and saying, just stepping forward and
Mm,
just
mm.
trying. And, I've kind of looked and think, well, this didn't work and that didn't work, but at least I tried, at least
Absolutely.
I tried. So yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest eye openers. And I mean, even this morning I was, hence the fingers, because I was journaling. And it's so weird that somebody can say the same thing because really there are only certain facts within the world.
Mm.
And
Yes.
that knowledge is knowledge. But the way that you tell me or the way that somebody else tells me will either resonate with me or I'm going to go, I have no clue what you're saying, honestly.
Yeah.
So we can hear the
Absolutely.
same thing over and over and over again. But just one person, just the way that they explain
Mm.
the concept suddenly makes sense. So if I can be that one person that can actually make sense to somebody, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. That's why
Yes.
I want to step out. I want to be a voice. I want to be heard.
Mm.
Yeah.
I also feel like becoming a single mom is very much, it's not a slow step in the pool. It's kind of sink or swim. So sometimes you actually just have to do the hard things,
Yeah.
um, without even thinking it through. You just have to be like, okay, well, we are fast diving into the deep end here.
Yeah, and our legs are
And I
going to
think
get
that just,
tired,
it
trying to
comes
keep
with
our
the
heads above
territory.
water. But every
Yeah,
now and again, there's that little turtle that comes underneath, and we get to stand on his shell and keep our head above water, and then he has to go on his merry way again. Yes.
absolutely. And as an introvert, how do you navigate being visible online and in business?
Well, kind of I don't. In the sense that, for me to be on camera it's not easy for me. Yeah, it's not easy, but so what I've done is I've used my photography. I can tell stories through other people's stories. um, i
Yes,
can I can do blog posts. I can still be very present without being present.
present.
So
Yeah.
I can I can show up with a photograph, because I can
Mm.
control a photograph. As a control freak, I
Mm.
can control
Mm.
a photograph that goes up on me. Controlling, how often it is that you'll do a video and then you'll pull it up and you're in this weird contorted face because you're taking a breath or something, and you can't really control that. But a photograph you can. So
Exactly.
again, I think that photography is a safe place for people to explore who they are in a controlled space and a safe space. So I have found that through blog posts, through LinkedIn posts, through sharing other people's stories, whatever, I can be online and I can be present without having to be online and be present.
I hear you.
Okay, all right, a little bit of a weird answer.
And what is something that you feel people misunderstand about who you are?
Probably a lot of people are very surprised to hear that I am an introvert. They really, really
Mm.
are. They don't understand the amount of mental energy and such, and the amount of mental preparation that it takes
Mm.
for me to actually step forward into an environment. I mean, the anxiety and the social anxiety that I feel before I go and do something like that, it's a lot. But then
Mm.
once I'm in it, um, my alter ego or whatever takes over, even though I know you talk a lot about alter ego, but
Yes.
she just kind of takes over, and it works. And I think it's because all of a sudden now I can concentrate on you rather than on
Mm.
me. When I step
Mm.
into that, the eyes go on me, and I don't like that. So the eyes will go on
Yeah.
a person as they enter the room, but then once you know them, then I can turn the energy and I can turn the focus back around onto them, which then protects me. And I
Yes.
think it does all stem from, it's like a coping mechanism that my body has taught me through being bullied, because you have
Mm.
to, as you are so scared that you are going to be judged and thought badly of or spoken badly of or whatever, because being bullied in
Mm.
those informative years does have a knock-on effect. And what
Absolutely.
annoys me the most is that these people are still carrying on the world having no clue how much they've actually, I don't
Destroyed
even know
you.
that they have destroyed
Inverted
my
commas.
life. Sorry?
I said how much they've destroyed you in
Yes,
inverted commas.
yes,
Um,
destroyed you, but then taught you so many other skills. And I think
yeah,
that if
and
I
so much
hadn't
about
have,
yourself.
yes, if I hadn't have been bullied, I wouldn't have the capacity to be able to make people feel so comfortable. So when they come
Mm.
into my space, I have the ability to assess. My brain goes into, when you see
Mm.
those TV things and all
Mm.
the things, kind of the equations.
Mm.
So my brain is now reading that person, saying, okay, they need me to be
Yes.
quiet. They need me to be attentive. They don't need me to be excited, loud, and X, Y, and Z. So then I can
Mm.
adapt like a chameleon for
Yes.
them to come into the space and feel happy. So
We are so similar.
yeah, yeah. So it is. I call it my chameleon phase.
Yes. No,
Yeah.
I love that. And then what helped you step into confidence or back into confidence after major life changes?
I had to. There wasn't another choice.
Mm.
So I cannot go and hide in the corner in the fetal position drooling.
Mm.
I can't. There
Mm.
isn't. And also there's quite a it's quite difficult because you have to show your children that emotion is okay, that you
Yes.
don't have to be strong all the time. But my whole philosophy is I don't live there.
Mm.
So yes, the bad thing can happen, but I don't want to live there. So a
Yes.
lot of people are like yes. So when I think back of my gran, she always used to live in the past of the negativity. So she would
Mm.
record when people died or when they get sick or when they broke their hip or whatever it was. And I remember thinking, I don't want to live like that. So,
Mm.
the past is in the past and the future is bright. Tomorrow gives me new opportunity. Yes, today sucked or whatever, but I always know that even if I wake up at 2 in the morning, wrought with anxiety, when I wake up, when I should wake up the next morning, the sun is shining and everything is bright and new. So I have to show up. I can't live in the past. I do, like I say, I do want to show my children that They're allowed to feel their emotion. They're allowed to be sad. They're allowed to be angry. They're allowed
Mm.
to they're allowed to feel what they're feeling, but don't stay there. Don't live there.
Don't wallow.
Don't
Yeah.
there it is. Yes, I am not a hippopotamus. I shall not follow. Yeah. So
Oh, good.
yes.
No, that's so important. And I think especially like we've touched on so many times, being a single mom, you just cannot stay there. You cannot stay in that space because mentally, and especially when you're alone, you don't have a support system, you don't have a partner, you cannot stay in that negative frame of mind.
Mm-mm. It's
It's
not
just not
healthy for yourself
conducive.
or your environment.
Not at all. Or the kids, more
No,
importantly, because they feed off our energy.
they do. Oh, trust me, they
Um,
do.
yeah, they just like mirrors, mirrors of us.
Can we
Okay,
not
Ash.
sometimes
So
just get a sheet and just cover the mirror?
I know, I
Well,
know.
at
If
Halloween,
only.
we've got an excuse because we can say, "Oh no, we're dressing you up as a ghost."
I love it. Lastly, what do you hope women feel when they listen to this podcast?
I really hope that they feel it's okay to be me. It's
Mm,
it's okay to feel angry, feel frustrated. I'm not the only one. I want them to realize that perfection is not we're not editing perfection here. We are raw
yeah,
and real. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fumble. I want them to realize that it's okay. You're allowed. Nothing. We also we're not like those beautiful YouTube bloggers that have music following us everywhere. That would be lovely and might help us calm our day. Although we could always just walk around with an earbud in and have our life orchestrated by an orchestra. But
yes.
I want it to be a space that they feel heard, that they feel seen, that they can come here in their pajamas with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine and think, this is a safe place. I'm okay
Yes.
here and I can be, and we do, I think we are definitely going to have times and places where we do go live and we can share and
Mm,
we will bring
mm,
people on that we are building a community. That's what I would
yes.
really love. I really, really would. That we don't have to go outside to socialize. We can do it here.
Right here in the comfort of our homes.
Absolutely. And
Or
our
wherever
fluffy
we're
socks.
visiting.
Sorry?
Yes. And wherever we're visiting.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. But we'll keep that as a surprise for next time, kind of thing. Don't tell them. Yeah. Okay. Courts.
Well, Ash, thank you so much for sharing so much of yourself.
Oh no, it's a pleasure. Thank you for your questions. It made me evaluate that actually I'm not doing that badly. I'm
No,
actually okay with everything that's going on. We are okay. So
pretty
thank
hardcore,
you.
I think.
So thank you. Okay, my
Fine.
friend, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
All right. So somebody has decided to write your biography for you. And as we know, on the dust jacket or cover of a book, there's always a little blurb that we can turn the book over and see what the book is about. So,
Mhm.
what does your book jacket say?
I think, shall I say it in a narrator voice?
You can say it however you choose, whatever makes you feel comfortable.
I would say Courtney is a mother, a mentor, and creative force who turned heartbreak into purpose. From running a law firm to building an empire to starting a modeling academy. Um, I think, and then shifting into mentoring women, into navigating life and love and loss, self worth. I think her story is one of resilience, reinvention, and soft power. She believes women can be loving and strong, vulnerable and powerful, and that becoming your highest, most truest self is the bravest journey of all.
I want
I
that
would
book.
say that would be
I want that book.
my little blip.
Okay. All right. We're going to work on that memoir. Okay. Now, when you first became a single mom, what shocked you the
Mm.
most?
I think, yeah, becoming a single mom, I think it was how quiet everything felt. And not just like the house, but how alone decisions suddenly felt,
Mm.
you know, having to have the answers to everything with no soundboard, no one that can reassure you that the decisions that you're making and the steps that you're taking are the right ones or that they even make sense out of yourself, you know. And I think that for me, that was probably the hardest part, um, was just the quietness and not having the backup of you doing okay, that was a good choice, this is the right decision. um yeah, but I think it, like you said in your answers, it makes you stronger, it makes you more self-assured, it makes you more confident in the decisions that you do make, but it feels lonely because you don't have that backup of you're making sense. Of course, we've got the kids. I did the same with my kids. When we got divorces, I'd call them in and I'd be like, do we understand? Are we understand? But then there's some things that you can't ask of them. And then also, my kids were also very small. So Lilia was 7 and Julian was 9. And so, although they've got certain answers, they're not the adult reassuring answers, you know. And I also came from, I was living with my parents and got married very young, so went straight from having my parents helping with big decisions to having a husband that did all the big decisions, and he was also 11 years older than me, so it was, I didn't really have to worry, you know. um, I had all these powerful men in my life that I didn't have to make the big decisions or any hardcore notions of anything because I had these power people, you know. And I think that for me was the most shocking part of becoming a single mom.
I like that. I like the
Is
way that
having
you
to,
said it made you quiet, the quiet. I hadn't thought of it
yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, what is something you wish somebody had told you in your first year of being a single mother?
That grief and relief can coexist. Because I was so confused. How? Like the minute you're separating and the divorce is on the go, you're like, okay. And especially when your divorce goes through, you like have this huge relief, like a weight off your shoulders. But then in those quiet moments, you feel this extreme grief and almost, I want to say, devastation.
Mm.
And it's like, why am I feeling this? Because I'm so relieved and I'm so glad that that chapter is done now. But why am I feeling this extreme grief? And I had to do a lot of introspection around that because, like we've discussed in your answers, is you cannot stay in that state of mind. You cannot stay in that woe is me vibes, you know. And I did a lot of introspection, and it actually boiled back down to your whole life you dream of being married and having a family and being this happy little housewife or whatever the dream is, and you forget that when you get divorced it's like a death that has to be grieved. It's not okay, you know, something silly or fickle or the end of something that was going to be short-lived in any event. When you got married, you believed wholeheartedly that you would never get divorced. And so when there is divorce, once you pass that fighting phase and the where you're in that fight and survive mode, you have that period of extreme grief because you've buried your marriage in essence, you know. It's not just okay, cool, break up with a boyfriend. You know, we can get over that in 2 weeks, but a marriage, a life, you've built something, you know, with another human and you've made humans and you've built dreams and built empires together to then just have all of that shut down to nothingness again. And all that you've got from that is your 2 beautiful children or your beautiful children, however many you have. But it's people don't prepare you for that grief. And then also knowing that the grief and the relief can coincide.
Mm. I remember
Um,
it being described as breaking a habit. You know, when you break a habit, uh,
yes,
it's difficult. And having a person in your space for X amount of years to suddenly cut
yeah,
that, you have to learn how to, you need an AA for relationships.
exactly.
Yeah.
And survival.
Or maybe we can be that AA. What part of what part of single motherhood feels invisible to other people?
It's the load, the mental, emotional, physical load of being the only adult. You're the breadwinner, you're the nurturer, you're the disciplinarian, you're the cook, you're the taxi, you're the everything under the sun with no backup. So there's no person that you can be like, I need 10 minutes, you know.
Mm.
You kind of just have to be fully present all the time. And I think people don't see that load on single moms. They don't see how, and also how we have to protect our children from our own nervous and mental breakdown. I mean, the amount of times I have been happy and smiley and, are you guys sorted? Are you ready for bed? And I'll go and I'll weep in the shower,
Mm.
or I'll sit in the bath and just have tears running down my face. And I can hear the kids chirping in the background, and I just feel so broken inside. And these tears are just rolling. And I'm just like, please don't let one of them walk in right now and see me in this state. And I think that's what's invisible. People don't see that. Then they see you walk out and you're skipping around with the kids and you're being merry, and everyone's like, oh, her life is perfect. No,
But
chick.
yeah,
I
my
wet
eyes
my
are
eyes
swollen.
out last night,
Yeah,
like
my eyes are
in the
swollen because of
shower.
shampoo.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
Yeah,
my eyes are being
that's
so puffy up there.
no,
Don't know
that's
what's going
very,
on.
very true. Yeah.
So, yeah, we just have no off switch. And especially single moms that don't have support systems. Like when you don't have parents nearby, you don't have sisters or brothers that are nearby that can help, look after the kids or take them for a night so you can just have your breakdown in peace. Um, you know, it's just, it's more difficult than people anticipate.
Okay, a little sideline question here because I know what it was like for me, but for you, do you find that those mental breakdowns are necessary? Like, do you, in my, for me, having those evenings, because when I got divorced, it was like Brett took the boys for, a weekend or whatever
Mm,
when he was here. He's
mm,
now moved out of the country. But those weekends, I could have a glass of wine and again, just have that mental breakdown. And
mm, mm.
I felt it was necessary. You need that
Yes,
emotional release. How was that for you?
it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm being a Capricorn, I'm so focused on success, professionalism, perfection. So I like to hold everything together.
Yes.
It's like that's my how I'm made up, you know. And so consciously I'm like, you cannot break down. Who do you think you are to have a breakdown, But when I do have those moments where I just feel so overwhelmed and I have that good cry in the shower or just a complete meltdown, like whether I'm scream crying into a pillow or whatever it is so necessary because it's actually your emotional release
Mm.
of all that tension that's built up from the load that you carry. And I think that's why we do have that ability to cry, is to release what is being held in.
Mm. No, for
I
sure.
feel it's very necessary. Absolutely.
And I think you've answered within your answer, you've answered the next question, whereas what has been the loneliest part of this journey? And I think you touched on that with the support system, not having a
Mm.
support system of parents around or, and then how have you navigated that?
I've just made it work. I also don't have many friends, and the friends that I do have are not friends that I can kind of be like I mean, I always remember my mom had a best friend, like a best friend, like they were soulmates. She lived in my mom's skin, my mom lived in her skin, we were always in each other's houses every holiday, we were always with them doing stuff with it. Like my mom's best friend's kids and myself and my brother were like siblings. My mom's friend used to come visit, and she used to kick my dad out of bed and climb into bed with my mom, and they'd have tea and chat and stay in bed till like 10 talking. And so like I don't have a friend like that, where I'd always seen this amazing sisterhood between my mom and her best friend. And I'd always longed to have something like that, where you so like relentlessly there for each other. Um, and yeah, I think that is very hard to not have somebody that you can be like, I need your help before I get arrested because these kids, you know.
It, yeah,
Um,
it's like, I'll bring the shovel. I'll bring the shovel.
yeah,
Just tell me where to meet you.
it's shovel or champagne.
Well, let's use the shovel and then we'll drink the champagne. Yeah, no, I totally understand. I think mine's kind of stems from a lack of trust because of
Yeah.
being bullied in school.
Yes.
You know, so to actually be able to build up a trust with another woman, especially when the woman was the one who took the information that you gave them because you thought they were a friend, and it landed up being totally misconstrued and spread heaven only knows where. And
Yeah.
thankfully, when I was younger, we didn't have social media, so I can only imagine
Mm.
how much more difficult it is these days. Some little
Yeah.
girl gets a be in her bonnet, and then your life story lands up as viral posts for people.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately. But I think also people that spread rumors, I think it says a lot more about them than it does about anyone else. And I
yeah,
think as you,
I always used to
yeah,
say, if their lives are so sad and pathetic that they have to make up stories about mine, I'm not doing that bad. I'm clearly doing
yeah,
something right.
absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
what part has made you stronger than you ever expected?
I think realizing that I was capable of doing the hard things
Mm,
and doing it alone. Um, like I said, I came from a very powerful dad to a very powerful husband, and I was protected in their power a lot. And although I myself am a powerful personality, I kind of never had to actually come forward because I had these strong men that would do everything that required, the tough decisions and the tough encounters. And suddenly I had to be confrontational and I had to make hard decisions and I had to challenge men sometimes, where I'd never had to do that prior to my divorce. So I think it was knowing that I could show up in whatever that situation expected me to show up as, and that I was capable of winning for myself.
yeah, I actually find that quite surprising because knowing you from when I first met you, I've always seen you as this strong, powerful,
Mm.
this divine force to be reckoned with. And I say that with the utmost, you're in my eyes, you are an inspiration in how you handle things and such, and how you've managed to just step out into the world and be who you are, and the way that you have empowered other women to do the same. It's like, I want to be like that. So that I actually do find different. But then you said, it's your powerful personality, and I think that's what I'm also seeing. So
Mhm.
yeah, okay, that I find that very, very interesting. Then how do you handle it? How do you handle the days when you feel like you are failing and everything is falling apart?
So, like I said, I'm a Capricorn. So Capricorns are like the diehard go-getters. Like we need to be successful at everything. We need to be winning at everything. Everything needs to be perfect. And even at work, like I'm the one that's like, has this been done? Has that been done? You know.
Yeah.
so so it's like really difficult when I feel like I'm failing to actually deal with the emotions that come up and the frustration that I feel. Um, but through introspection again, I try and force myself to slow down
Okay.
and to just take a breath and like remind myself that surviving is still success.
Yes. 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 Oh my gosh,
and,
yes. Take note of that,
and
ladies.
yeah, surviving is still success. And that some days are more about progress. And that I have to also give myself grace sometimes,
Mm.
because I think I also put so much pressure on myself to be good at everything. And everything that I take on, I must be doing 110%.
Mm.
And then when I'm not, I get incredibly frustrated. And I also feel like I'm letting people down.
Okay, and now
Where,
when
yeah,
you take that breath, do you have any tactical or practical examples? I remember listening to a talk that you did where you said you love to journal.
mm,
Is that one of the sort of mechanisms you
journaling is
use to take a breath?
absolutely. So, journaling is the only way that I've actually managed to separate my thoughts and develop a very good understanding of how I work, how my brain works, how my body responds to things. Um, I've discovered all of that through journaling, and if I hadn't done journaling, I wouldn't know half of the things that I know about myself. And how I respond to stressful situations, how I respond to people saying or doing things against me. Um, all those things I've learned, and coping mechanisms, and taking that step back and giving myself grace, um, maintaining as much of my feminine energy as I can through journaling and introspection.
And do
And
you have a favorite?
introspection is,
Sorry, no, carry
sorry,
on, carry on.
yeah.
No, 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 carry on.
So introspection is very much like where you're looking inward. This is the situation. This is how I'm feeling. Why? What triggered me? How do I interpret this? How could it have been interpreted by someone else? Um, and then you dissect everything to then say, this is why I was triggered. This is how, if this ever happens again, I can respond differently. This is what I need to calm my nervous system from what had happened or what is happening.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people don't realize how valuable journaling and introspection is. I do journaling more as an introspective aspect. I don't do the journaling like every day where, like, dear diary, today this and this and this happened. Like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, I do, I'm feeling overloaded. Why am I feeling this? How do I fix it? Let me dissect what's happened. So I generally will journal when I'm feeling overwhelmed, not day to day.
And do you have like a ritual? It's like, okay, I need to go and find a quiet place, or I need a glass of wine, or
Yes.
do you get a favorite book and pen? How do you what is your sorry, we could probably do an episode on this type of thing, but
Yes.
just very briefly, like, what is your journaling ritual? When what I know that you spoke about just now about the total overwhelm, but
Yeah.
what triggers do you get to journal, and then what is your journaling? I'll call it a ritual for lack of a better term.
So I generally will do my journaling in the evenings, or I'll do them like on the weekend when I've got some quiet time. And I generally will go and sit outside. I love being in nature and have a glass of wine, put on a scented candle, or I use those fairy lights. I use those wine bottles with the little fairy light things.
Yes,
Love those. I'm obsessed with them. I think I need more. I just
they're so
put them
pretty.
all on around the whole house. But I'll put those on around me, and I just sit there, and then I think to myself, okay, what did I have to deal with? What's making me feel overwhelmed? What's making me hate myself right now? Why am I feeling these things? And what was it that triggered that? And let me dissect and get to the bottom of it so that I don't have to feel like this again, or feel this overwhelm, or um, you know, just how to move forward, being more self-aware.
Yes. And do you know,
Hmm.
have you realized, I was talking to my sister on the phone about it yesterday evening. I can't remember why, but just the either talking through something with somebody or writing it down means that it can only be one thought at a time. So where you've got
Yes.
this absolute whirlpool of
Yes.
tornado stuff going on in your mind, you have to
Mhm.
like suck it out the bottom, one thought at a time, so that it can implode on itself and calm the heck down. And
Yeah.
that just helps you deal with one thought at a time.
Absolutely.
That's how
That's where
I,
that's where you can process everything.
yeah, that's how I've rationalized that journaling works. And then do you use
Right.
physical journals, computers? How do you do it?
Physical. Beautiful books, fancy little pens, a little bit of glitter, some stickers if
Yes,
you need. Yeah.
yes. Okay. All right. So we've done that one. Do you ever feel guilt? And what does guilt sound like in your head? That's a tough
I do. I do. I always feel guilt. Again, it stems back to just my personality type, and being a Capricorn is like, like, I mean, like a Capricorn's the OCD of the star signs, if we're honest, you know. So, I often feel like I'm not enough, and I'm not doing enough, and I'm not enough of this, and I'm not enough of that, and I'm not giving enough to the kids, and I'm not enough at work, and I'm not enough in my friend groups, or with my best friends. I'm just not enough. I often feel that. And especially if I've got a friend that's particularly giving, like I've got one friend that helps me with my daughter every single day of the week. I drop my daughter at her house. She makes sure that her hair's done, gives her breakfast, makes her feel amazing. Like, I know my daughter's day starts amazingly every single day. And I feel guilt. Like, I can't give her what she gives me and my child. How do I ever give
Yes.
as much as she's giving me and my child? And then I want to do so much to show her how much I love and appreciate her, but then in the same way, I don't always have the means to do so. So I feel this incredible guilt for not giving back, even though I know she gives from her heart. She's not expecting me to give back, but I feel guilt for not being able to give back in that same way. And then obviously there's mom guilt, which is a real thing. And sometimes mom guilt is actually so self-sacrificial, because we literally will self-sacrifice ourselves for the kids' sake, to the point that we actually can't even be present for them. And that's what I always have to remind myself when I have these guilt attacks is, I cannot beat myself up to this extent, because it stops me from actually being present. It stops me from actually being able to give of myself, because I'm breaking down my confidence, and I'm breaking down my worth by saying, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not doing enough, when actually your whole world is revolving around them.
Yeah, and I actually think,
So
just again, knowing you the way I know you, I figure you're not enough is actually sometimes way too much. You know what I mean?
yeah.
you we operate here. Courtney operates here. But it's, again, I find it inspiring. I know a lot of women probably find it intimidating. I find it inspiring. So
Oh, thanks.
you carry on, honestly. And do you find sometimes that mom guilt leads to resentment? I often find that, because of the mom guilt, I end up going above and beyond for my children, and then being
Mm-hmm.
very resentful when they don't put their dishes in the dishwasher. It's like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
went to all the effort to buy you a dishwasher, stop you having to wash the dishes, and you can't even put your dish in. And
Yeah.
then there's, so yes, mom guilt. Good old
But
mom
you know
guilt.
what? I think that also it comes from not feeling appreciated.
Mm,
Like, and I had this discussion with my kids the other day, because, I work full time. So I said to them, I actually need your help in the house.
mm,
You're not here rent free. You don't have to pay money, but you need to contribute to the house. And that is through cleaning up after yourself, and saying thank you, mom, for coming home after a long day and cooking me a meal. Because in the real world, you have to cook your own food. So now you're old enough to realize that this is an act of love, that I'm cooking a magnificent meal for you. And a
yes,
thank you will go a long way.
indeed,
And I think, especially as they get older, you do build up that resentment, because it's like, why is this expected and not appreciated?
100%.
Um, and then I also look at it now as a divorced woman and say, well, do I want my son to not appreciate his wife one day? Because
Exactly.
how I allow him to treat me is how he thinks he can treat the woman that comes into his life.
100%.
And through the mother-son relationship, I'm teaching him what a woman will give, and I'm also teaching him how he needs to respond to what she's giving.
Absolutely. And it's important, hey, because these kids are not being parented anymore. They really
Mm-mm.
aren't. They aren't being taught how to behave.
But also, people are so self-focused, and when you're self-focused and everything is about me, you'll never be a good partner to someone else, because in a relationship, it's give and take. You wash my back, I wash yours. And if it's just, well, my back needs washing, my back, like, it's not conducive to a healthy relationship.
Mm-mm. Not at all. Not at all.
Mm.
Okay, Courts, thank you again. I've got one more question for you, and then we are going to close the session out. If a
Okay.
single mom is listening right now and she's feeling extremely overwhelmed, what would you say to her? Not the polished version, but a true to form real one.
I would say you're not behind and you're not broken. You're carrying a lot. And the fact that you're still showing up every single day is everything. So take one day, one breath, one choice, even one meal at a time, and you're still allowed to grow slowly. I think one of the things that is so underestimated in becoming a single mom and a divorcee is that you think that your situation will bounce back quickly, and it doesn't. Financially, you don't bounce back quickly. Emotionally, you don't bounce back quickly. You've got 2 humans, 3 humans, however many humans you have, looking back at you, sucking your energy, relying on you, and you self-sacrificing willingly,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also expecting to bounce back. And I think it's not realistic. So I would just say, allow yourself to grow back slowly and take time to discover who you are and what you want out of life and focus your priorities around that.
Beautiful.
I think that would be
Yeah.
my biggest feedback to newly single moms, especially.
Yeah. No, but Courts, thank you. I mean, I think this was sure. It was an intense episode. It's a very long
It was
episode, so I'm
indeed.
not going to apologize for that because I think the value that we've given and the rawness that both of us
Mm,
have actually delivered here, hopefully it will help other women.
yeah.
This and I think just what Courtney has said here is a beautiful close off because it you won't bounce back, but you are transforming, you are
Yes.
growing, you are rediscovering, you are it's a metamorphosis, it really is. And if you come to this space and you hear people who have lived this experience, you can take little gems away and you'll be able to guide your transformation. You'll be able
Mm,
to make decisions within that transformation that can take you on the path that you want. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to sit there and hand the steering wheel to somebody else. You can gain your control back. You are
mm,
allowed to feel, you're allowed to fall apart. But
mm.
there is light at the end of the tunnel. No matter how small and how many turns there are, there is always the light. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this podcast, I would love for it to be that transformation for you. So if you have any questions for either Courtney or myself, you're welcome to either pop them in the comments or send us an email or anything that you need to do if you want it to be a little bit more incognito. But yes, if you would like to know more about us and what we've done and how we've combated and navigated certain issues and such, please reach out to us. We will do everything that we can to answer those questions. And if we can't,
Mm,
we will find somebody who can. We will do our best to find somebody who can. Can't always guarantee it, but
yeah.
we will definitely do what we can to assist in any way that we can. So, Courts, thank you. I think that was so cool. I learned so much about you. Gosh, I loved it. So, thank you.
Oh,
And
man.
yeah, no,
Amazing.
definitely. If ever you need to phone that friend, you phone me.
Ditto.
I'll bring the shovel and the champers. All right, but ladies, thank you so much. And gents, if there's any gents, but thank you for listening to us. We will see you
Yeah.
again next Sunday, 7 o'clock. Don't forget that this will go live on YouTube on a Wednesday as well. So we look forward to seeing you on both those channels. So you can either listen to us while you're driving. Please don't watch us while you're driving, but you're welcome to listen to us while you're driving. And yes, we'll see you again next Sunday, same place, same time. Thank you,
New
Courts. Have a
topic.
lovely week.
You too, Ash. Thanks so
Okay,
much.
then. Bye.
Bye.